Welcome to Build Your Maverick Business, the podcast for underdog, outlier, and renegade entrepreneurs. Brought to you by Strange Creative Studio. If you dream of going off on your own and launching your rebel empire, but don't know where to start, you're in the right place. We'll teach you how to use mindset, branding, and practical advice to build a killer business and transform your world. And now, here's your host, founder of Strange, Alex Pitt.
Hello everyone, welcome back. Very exciting, I've just realised this is episode 50 of Build Your Maverick Business. Yeah, very exciting stuff. I know we've only just turned 1 year old, but these little timeline landmarks, milestones if you like, very exciting to still be with you, still doing this, still coming to you from my little blanket fort, which I've had to reinstate because we've had some echoey episodes recently. I'm currently under a soft pink shruggy, don't you know, bringing you the sound quality that you all deserve, my darlings. So I look ridiculous. I don't know what my neighbours think because I'm sat by the window, but sod it, all for the production values. Now, what I want to talk to you about this week, it's inspired by fashion, darlings. I know I say it all the time, I used to work in fashion. And I'm going to get on to how this relates back to business, of course. But before I do that, I'll tell you how I came to think of this kind of comparison. So I love a glossy fashion magazine every now and then. Usually the ones like your Cosmo and your Glamour, which have got like, you know, some ridiculous sex tips and makeup advice in there as well. Those are the fun ones. But I do love a glossy magazine, usually when I've got a long train journey to get on, right? And I'm killing time and think, why don't I just go and spend £47 on a sandwich, drink and a mini can of Pringles at WH Smith and chuck in a glossy magazine? Why the fuck not? If you live in the UK, you know what I mean. So in these magazines, right, they have these spreads of fashion trends. So it'll be something like animal print, 80s throwback with your shoulder pads, pastels, that sort of thing, these trends, which are picked out from lots and lots of different designers, right? You always see little kind of collage spreads of lots of models all wearing a similar thing that have been pulled together to create this look, to create this trend that these journalists have pulled out. Now at your average fashion week, okay, where these are taken from, there are about 300 shows across sort of 7 to 9 days. On these spreads, they'll pick out maybe 10 images, right? And if you think that every designer has got so many looks that they put across the catwalk, there are so many looks to choose from. So realistically, to say that something is a trend, someone has taken the reality, which is all of these looks, all of these, in fact, thousands of looks, thousands of outfits across one fashion week. Someone has taken a very, very teeny tiny snippet of that and curated it to tell the audience that this is what people are wearing, right? Pastels are in, 80s shoulder pads are in, because 10 out of thousands of outfits are showing this thing. Now, I found myself drawing a comparison between that and what social media does to our brains in general, but very much when it comes to business, when it comes to success, and when it comes to how we compare ourselves to other people. So we all know that people are not necessarily putting out the reality on social media, okay? Everything is curated to show a certain side of us, and it's usually the highlight reel, right? Social media is a little bit like sailing on a sea when all you can see are hundreds of tips of icebergs. And those tips of the icebergs are beautiful. They are glistening in the sun. They are stunning. No one has any idea what's going on under the surface of that water. Now, this is one of the many great things about having best friends, right? Having best mates who are willing to be vulnerable with each other. So I follow my best mates on Instagram. Of course I do. I like all of their photos and I will comment fire emojis underneath every single selfie. That's what we do. That's just the rules of feminism. Now, I see their lives played out on Instagram, right? They look beautiful. Them and their lives, not just their faces, but the way that they live out every day. Everything is polished and full of love. But then when you get them in a beer garden of an old man pub after a few wines on a Thursday night, you have a chat with your friends and you find out that there is some really painful shit that they're going through, which of course they're not putting on their timeline, which of course you would never know if you sat and you had that wine with them and you really got down to it. Right? Their lives, just like everyone else's, are not all dog walks and nights at cocktail bars and city breaks. Right? It's relationship problems, mental health problems, crippling debt, loneliness. That's what's going on under the surface. Now, the same thing happens when you run your own business, okay? When you are running your own thing, you're going to be bombarded with people flaunting their success. You might have someone on your timeline who is celebrating booking 10 new clients. The guy who just opened another location for his chain of barbershops. The couple who just got their products stocked in a major nationwide retailer. Right? You're seeing all these wins, all of these highlights, all of the tips of the iceberg. Now, you can look at all of these wins. You can look at these highlight reels. And you, in your mind, can start to form a really toxic picture. One that eats away at the back of your mind, telling you that you don't measure up. That everyone else is winning except you. Okay, you're taking all of this information and you're curating it and ignoring everything else that's being presented to you. Just like those spreads from Fashion Week, where you're taking teeny tiny amounts of what's actually there and painting a picture. The truth, realistically, is never that straightforward. Okay, that woman who's booked 10 clients may have to juggle 10 clients because she's wildly undercharging, meaning that she's working all hours of the day, not seeing her kids and only just managing to pay the mortgage. The guy who's opened that barbershop might have done so because his life is falling apart at home and he'd rather be on the road than at home with his family. But no one is putting that shit out there, right? No one is talking about that stuff. Now, I'm not saying that you should be rejoicing because everyone else is probably miserable. Hopefully, 50 episodes in, you know that that's not what I'm like. My point is that you should never compare your real, raw, challenging business journey to everybody else's highlight reel, their glossy trend page in the magazine, or the tip of that iceberg. If you do that, you're just going to make yourself sad. And we all know that when you're feeling shit about yourself, you don't get results. You're not going to grow, you're not going to evolve when you're being mean to yourself. So instead of focusing on everybody else's wins and all of the wonderful shit that everyone else is putting out there, take all of this information with a pinch of salt. Think about everything else that's going on under the surface. If you find yourself triggered by comparing yourself to other people, I beg you to come back to this comparison. Because the most important thing at the end of every day is, did you get one step closer to your goals? It's you versus you. Fuck everyone else. All right, my darlings, I'm going to come out from under my shruggy for a little bit to make a coffee. Have a wonderful week and I'll catch you here next time.
Got an idea for a maverick business of your own? Learn how to build a powerful brand that will get people obsessed with our online program, not just a pretty logo. You'll learn a simple step-by-step framework that will kickstart your killer brand and help you find your raving fan base. Find out more today at strangecreativestudio.com.